Hello, everyone. We are back. I am back. And today I'm really excited because I'm talking to a fellow astral projector, out of body experiencer, whatever you want to call it, someone who explores the other realms. And he is a seasoned veteran. We chatted on his channel a little while ago, Consciousness Awake. Jeremy, thank you for being here.
Hi, thanks for inviting me. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
We've had a couple really nice um, conversations thus far, and again, it's nice to get to know you and meet you too. And hopefully, I'll learn even more from your own from your from all your experiences too, and out of bodies, because we all should always try to learn, new perspectives and experiences from each other. And I
Definitely.
think that's like that's kind of like how consciousness actually evolves in a way. Is I mean, we're evolving ourselves, but we're also learning from other people too. You know,
Right. Yeah,
so
because
it's,
everyone has their own methods, everyone has their
yeah,
own comfort zone and
hmm
yeah, so
different
thank you.
different types of experiences.
Sure.
Some people have just a lot of negative experiences with astral projection, and then some people have a lot of really positive, really good, amazing experiences with astral projection. And for me, I've kind of had like a blend. I've kind of experienced both sides of it, and but both sides have, together, help for me to understand more,
Right.
about how our consciousness actually works, because it's not really about astral projection. It's about understanding our soul, and
Hmm.
our consciousness and our awareness and our mental field, a lot of the things that are involved, that are beyond astral projection, but like, we were talking about how, actually, we were just talking about how a lot of people are going out of body just when they become unconscious during sleep. I believe it was a few weeks ago,
Hmm.
where it's like this, it's a normal phenomenon, and the only thing is that most people, 99% of people, just lose all of their conscious awareness in that moment, right when their body falls asleep and you go into an unconscious state. And the trick to it is, the real magic to consciousness shifting, um, is just keeping your consciousness awake long enough, as the body is falling asleep. Um, and that's something I didn't really understand when I was younger. That's just something I've kind of learned, over time, um, just over time, really. But
Yeah. And
if
that's
more people can just understand how, this whole astral projection stuff, all this stuff, is actually really normal. It's
right.
really just part of our reality and part of the larger reality picture.
Hmm.
We just have to be more aware of it, you know.
Perfect. Yeah, that's
Um,
what I say. Because we're
yeah,
doing it anyway. It's just a matter of being awake while we're doing it. What Robert
yeah,
Monroe calls body
mhm,
asleep, mind awake state. Yeah.
yeah,
And it's
yeah,
because it's our
absolutely.
bodies that need rest and sleep, not our consciousness. Our consciousness
Exactly.
is keeps going.
Yeah. Yes. Consciousness is always, it's just energetic, and it's just and it doesn't really go to sleep or anything. But it's like our, I mean, some people disagree with me, but I'm coming from the boat of where, dream state is a subconscious construct, product of the brain.
Mhm.
And when I have my out of body experiences, They are not dreams. I am integrating my whole self, really. All of what I am is just integrating and shifting just enough into these other more subtle bodies we have that are attached to our auric field, and our etheric and astral layers are really, really, really close to our physical body. And so it doesn't take much of a frequency shift with consciousness to just integrate more and use those bodies. And so there's a lot of people, I mean, there's actually a lot of channels on YouTube that disagree with all of what I just said. They truly believe that even out of bodies, or all kinds of astral projection is just a byproduct of the brain, or dreaming and that
A
kind of thing.
dream. Yeah.
And I highly disagree.
I
Highly
disagree
disagree.
too.
Now there's like when you wake up in a dream and you become, as they say, lucid in a dream, that experience of just being aware, in a dream body and kind of doing what you want to do in a dream state. Now that there is some similarity to how that feels compared to an out of body and moving your energy body and manipulating that body. I mean, there's some similarities to it, but at the same time, there's several key things and differences between the experiences. Um, and but I don't want to I don't want to digress.
Well, okay. Well, it's not really digressing, but I like the way Robert Peterson explains the different levels of dreaming, lucid dreaming, and then the out of body state. And he and what he says is that there's a fine line between lucid dreaming and out of body, but the dream state, it would be the hallucination, right? The that subjective reality that we are creating from our brain or brain, and processing the days the days happenings, that kind of thing, what we what we had for dinner, maybe causing some
Mhm.
kind of a dream, that type of thing.
Yes, it's observing.
And in a
It's
movie
making
we
imprints.
watched. Right,
Yeah,
right. And
yeah.
working through things. And so, processing your day or your last couple of days or something like that. And then the lucid dream, of course, is when we wake up within the dream and realize that we are dreaming, and we can turn that into an out of body experience, which an out of body experience is where you are aware of the objective reality of the astral planes.
Mhm.
Yeah. And
I
so
agree. A lot of people don't. Well, there's a few people that talk about that whole idea of of being in a lucid dream and then using that as a launching pad,
and
because
yeah,
it's a lot.
I
It's
do
a
that.
lot easier.
Mhm.
It's a lot easier to shift consciousness into your energy bodies from a lucid dream state than it is just in your physical body.
Right.
Um, unless you're going into a pretty deep trance-like body paralysis, deep muscle relaxation kind of effort, with the meditation, with the intention to get into that, what you just mentioned earlier, like way back in the day when Robert Monroe would talk about the importance of that body asleep, mind awake phase.
Right.
And he basically stumbled across that just accidentally. I believe he was what, in his like 40s, I believe, or something. I don't remember.
I believe he was older than that. I believe he was in
Maybe
his
older,
50s.
I don't
Yeah.
know, but yeah, it just started um happening spontaneously. And I think there's a lot of people that go through all of this and it kind of starts in a spontaneous way. That's what it was. That's what happened to me. So for many years, from the age of 8, 9 years old, 10 years old, um I would constantly be getting out of my body and just going into the neighbors' houses, flying up on the rooftops and jumping rooftop to rooftop, and spying on people and doing all kinds of things. And but I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what was actually happening. I didn't have any parents or siblings or anybody really in the family or around me really that could provide any real mentorship with those experiences. And there was no YouTube, when I was real young and stuff. So there's no way to really research those experiences. I was kind of on my own for many years, and because of that, because of my ignorance to just to what I was experiencing spontaneously, that's why I had a mix of negative experiences and interesting, more positive experiences. And then it wasn't until I was maybe more in my early 20s and about 25 when I put the negative aspects to most of the stuff, to rest, because I started to understand more and more how powerful our consciousness is, and how our consciousness can frequency match or frequency resonate to different realm. I mean, not different realms, but different parts of the astral realm, and the lower astrals and the mid astrals and the higher up into the mental plane aspect of the astral structure, and how it can tie into all those things in its own unique ways. But most of my negative experiences and kind of real hellish like reality constructs and what we I guess call that lower astral area, and there's thousands and millions of different astral reality worlds and constructs. It's just mind-boggling to how vast it is. A lot of those negative experiences happen because I was having spontaneous OBEs, and but at the same time I had fear. I was scared, and that fear, the anxiety and fear and not understanding what was happening to me, just put me kind of in those lower vibrational states. And from what I gather, just being in that mind state and having consciousness shifting into another body and exploring these areas automatically frequency matched me to certain parts of the astrals that were not a very pleasant experience. And of course I didn't even know what was happening when that happened. Those were very traumatic experiences for me. Some
Sure.
things that I would never even want to share really, on my channel and my videos. I try to keep things a little more on the positive end, or like in a video with you, like right now. There's some very embarrassing, very traumatic things that I went through. But at the same time, though, I learned from a lot of that stuff. And it made me better at it. And it made me realize how important it was to, if you're meditating, to do astral projection, or just in general, just to not have any fear of the unknown, or fear of the astral, of the way energetic matter behaves with consciousness in these other realms. Is that you just have to be you have to just know that you do have control over what happens to you, depending on your own intentions, your thoughts, your mind state, and your focus and all those types of things. So even if something is scary, you just have to kind of push it aside and just kind of ignore it and just move past it all. But I
Yeah.
think that we all have different innate, like, we're all just kind of built differently.
hmm
And that's why, like, some people who do astral projection, they just find to have very blissful experiences and amazing experiences, because maybe they're just more prone, just naturalistically, just to resonate that way. Because we're all, just because one person astral projects and another person astral projects doesn't mean that both of those people are going to have the same kind of experiences. because we're all coming from different levels of life and different things that have happened to us. And then you have all of the past life um, attachments and all the things that we've been through beyond just this earth, this human experience here. And
Right.
even though we get mind wiped, even though our consciousness gets mind wiped when we come into this experience, um, uh, there's still things that are resonating from those other experiences.
Yeah, we still hold in our DNA. We hold the memories in our
Yeah.
DNA. Yeah. And I find that I found with personally, whenever I came across any kind of a fear um, that was manifesting for me, and I found that it was, our fears manifest
Mhm.
if we because it's our environment is very thought responsive,
Yeah.
just like here, except it's a lot slower here. But but yeah, they're going to manifest somehow if we keep focusing on it. But and sometimes we don't even know what fears we have, and so they come up.
Yeah.
And yeah, in the astral realms. But what I've done is it took me a little while to understand, okay, I just need to face it, say, you know what, you can't hurt me.
Yeah.
And that's how I was able to walk through it. And then the whole thing changes. The other day I had a projection. I haven't had a scary projection in a while, but I had one the other day. And I've been talking to people that have had some nightmares. I had like a few days of nightmarish dreams, which
Yeah.
I haven't had in a long time. In the
Hmm.
last week, something's going on. And I had one where this I I was in my mind, I was semi-lucid, but it was very clear experience, um, physical, clear. And this person, this male, was had killed my friend, and I just heard it. I didn't see it, I just heard it. And then I'm trying to, I know that and then he comes for me, and he's standing there with a knife, and I'm like, in terror, and then it hits me, and I do it, and without even thinking, I become this huge angel with indigo colored wings,
Hmm.
huge angel, and I pick him up. I pick him up, and I fly up, and I feel this anger, and I pick him up, and I hand him over to, and there's another angel waiting, huge angel with black wings, angel of death is what I was feeling. And who knows, but and I hand him over to the angel, and I say, he's yours. and then I'm and then I'm back in my body. So
Mm.
that was one way I handled a fear that I had. I don't know where it came from or what it was about,
Hmm.
but
Kind of
it
an
was like
automatic response. So you just kind of
it was
automatically did it.
automatic. And I've
Yeah.
seen myself as this angelic being, or this
Mm.
winged being with indigo colored wings before.
Mm.
So for some reason I was able to handle it that way. But it was
Yeah.
strange.
Indigo is. I really like indigo.
Mm, yeah.
That's just a beautiful, yeah, beautiful color. It's so calming,
Mhm.
calming to me, like amethyst crystals. If I'm trying to meditate and maybe I've had a stressful day, can't relax, um, I'll just actually pick up some of my amethyst pieces and just hold them in my palms, and just absorb them. Absorb, to me, like, crystals have their own vibrational frequency,
Right.
and each piece had its own distinct frequency. They're not the same. And sometimes if you just find the right pieces that complement your own energetics, the way your body is, they can be used for a great tool to calm down and
Sure.
relax. And so sometimes I use those. I'm not sure how I went into crystals. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I was just going to ask you if you've seen crystals in any of your travels out there.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Well, actually, what it actually is, where I mean, of course, this is my own perspective. I don't expect people to believe everything I'm saying. It's just my opinions, obviously. But but I found that like stones, crystals, trees, nature, etc. Everything is multidimensional.
Mhm.
And so what I found is that if I get out of body and I walk by one of my like clear quartz pieces, like just randomly on one of my shelves or something like that, um, it's like it has its own layers
Mhm.
to it. And it's like there's like an etheric energy layer grid like around the crystal, and then there's like an astral structure that kind of surrounds that. Um, and so a lot of things are like that, like mineral spirits and nature and things and people. Like when I randomly go by people who are just sleeping in other areas when I'm out of body in that real time zone, which again I call the etheric plane, not the astral plane. But when I'm in that real time etheric realm, um, and just seeing the human body in the bed, and then seeing the multidimensional aspects to that person, and seeing their energy bodies kind of float next to their body or maybe floating up a little bit above their body, and sometimes it's below their body, so they're in bed but their energy body is down here,
Oh, wow.
so it sinks down. One time what I found was interesting was um going back to that idea of how people they just fall asleep naturally every night and they kind of have just natural out of body experiences, but they don't remember anything like we talked about, because you're not
Mhm.
consciously aware of it. What I saw one time was it seemed like my neighbor was basically just kind of falling asleep, and it looked like his energy body, he's sleeping with his physical body, and his energy body, it's just like it popped out, but then it sank really fast like this, like that fall. Like have you ever
The
had that
feeling, oh, yeah.
that
Yeah.
falling sensation where you feel like you just fall, like
You're
you've fallen
falling
3 feet
into,
in bed or something or whatever,
yeah,
right?
falling into
and
the bed.
and that's what it looked like, exactly like that, where you can see how the person's just I can hear people breathe when I'm in the real time zone. And so his breath just kind of like seemed like he was just going into that sleep mode, and that energetic copy that looked just like him just kind of flopping out and just dropping down really quick. And it like and then I think like a few days after that OBE, I remember having that experience where you just kind of wake yourself up, like that with that falling sensation,
Yeah.
and then I was like kind of tying it together.
Mm.
So there's like I noticed things like that. Um, um, once I learned what astral projection was, and I had my spiritual awakening about the same time. Um, it was a really interesting experience for me because once I learned about it, it wasn't like I was wondering if it was real or not. It was like, oh wait, this is real. Like, wow. This is not like some sci-fi stuff, right? Or some fantasy stuff or
Mhm.
movie kind of stuff. This is just real. And wow, it's been around for thousands of years, and ancient Egypt, and just the list just goes on and on about people who've um, you know, try to master the art of astral projection. Um and once people realize how there's this whole larger reality system just in different frequencies or just different densities of matter, and how we're all already connected to all of that, we don't have to experience physical death to be able to explore
Right.
these other planes, dimensions, densities, however you want to label it,
Right.
however you want to describe it. Once you have experiences and you kind of realize for yourself like, whoa, this is all real. That's where I think it's just so critical for people to understand how important it is to explore these things, you know, and you just can't really achieve. There's a term called there's a word called as a word. What is that word? Gnosis in
Gnosis, yeah.
Gnosticism. That word gnosis meaning trying to achieve that enlightenment or that
Right.
awareness of these higher up dimensions.
Mhm.
Um, to do that, it's really something you have to do yourself. You know, I mean,
Sure.
a person can sit around and listen to you, or listen to me, or read a book, or watch documentary, whatever they're doing. They can do that all they want, but you're really not going to get anywhere doing that. You have to experience these things yourself,
Right.
and then you really
It
also,
takes practice. It
yeah,
takes practice.
it's, but you know what though? That's true, obviously, but it's a lot easier than what people think. It's very easy. Now, maybe for me it's easy. Maybe it's one of those things where I've learned
Right.
how to relax my body.
That's what I'm saying is it
Yeah.
takes practice with re relaxing your body is key. That's key.
What this one shaman, Blackfoot shaman, when I was like I think I was 19 years old.
Mhm.
And that's when I was trying to figure out what all these spontaneous experiences were that I was experiencing. I was just really just so curious to figure out if I was just going crazy, or what was going
Right.
on. And then I did run into by accident in front of a Costco when I was 19, and I ran into this Blackfoot Indian, and we just started talking for some reason. I don't know how. We just started talking, and then he in that few minute conversation, he just basically the takeaway from that was, he just said, well, the real secret to this is just to learn how to paralyze your body
Mhm.
intentionally, to trick your body into thinking that your body's asleep, while you stay awake. And that kind of made sense. So immediately after that, I probably spent a few months with all my meditations, just practicing different ways to relax my body, and then just to focus, like with my toes, my two big toes, let's say.
Mhm.
And I would just breathe, and I would just focus on putting my toes into a paralysis state, or like a numb state. And then so I'd kind of, they start vibrating, right? You feel the vibrations kicking in on the toes. And the next thing you know, they go into void that you just don't even feel them
Don't
anymore.
feel them anymore. Yeah.
They're just gone. You
Yeah.
can't move them. You don't feel them. It's like there's no weight.
Mhm.
It's just lightness. And then so once I got my two big toes down, then I moved over to the rest of my toes and the bottom of my foot, and then I started to get pretty good at just concentrating on doing the body paralysis method. And then I'd get up all the way up to my neck, and then I would always find in those beginning phases of trying to initiate astral projection intentionally, through
Mhm.
meditation,
Mhm.
that once I got up to here, it was really hard to get my facial muscles in my
Yeah.
forehead and my neck to get like paralyzed. And then I realized, oh, it's just because of the muscles. There's more tension in those muscles. We use our shoulders, our back, our neck,
Right. Our
these
neck.
areas. We
Yeah.
use it a lot during the day,
Mhm.
and so I just kind of, it was kind of a real learning process. But I really I appreciate being 19, and just running into that person randomly, and that person just giving me that thought, right, of
Right.
just trying to go into meditation with that intention, just to do that. And it really helped me a lot. um, and so then basically what happened was, I had spontaneous experiences. And then when I learned all about this stuff, then I turned that around knew it was real and believed in it, and of course, believing in it and knowing it's real obviously makes it easier to do.
Yeah.
But then it turned into an intentional act um, through meditation. So and I never meditate for any other reason. I mean, uh, when I meditate every single time is solely just to do astral projection. And even with all of the effort and the meditations and the different techniques and everything that I've done over the years, the actual ratio for me of converting a meditation into an out of body experience and consciously awake, shifting into these, energy bodies, the actual ratio is like, 25% maybe,
That's pretty
30%.
good for
I
for
mean,
meditation,
yeah, I think it's
projecting from a
not too
meditation.
bad, but
Yeah.
still, it can, some people, they try it like a few times.
Yeah.
They don't really get to the vibrational phase, the vibrational state, or they're having a hard time with getting their body, into that paralysis state. Um, and they give up after like 3 tries, right? Or they
Mhm.
try it like 3 4 5 times and it just doesn't work. Okay, so people on my channel will ask me a lot of times like, well, how it's so hard for me, how come it's so easy for you? But it kind of is easy for me, but at the same time, I only, like I said, convert maybe 1 out of 4
Right, and you've been
meditations.
doing it a long time. You've been doing it
Yeah.
since you were a kid. And yeah, so that makes a big difference. That's what I tell people too. I've been doing this for over 20 years.
Mhm.
So yeah, and it took me about a month while I was practicing every night. I was very dedicated, practiced every night and in between my sleep cycles. I
Mhm.
was still practicing. I was also taking naps and doing, and I was meditating like crazy. And
Yeah.
so yeah, so just, and I think about it all the time.
Yeah.
So I was very dedicated. So
Sure.
and people want fast results, of course. But it took me
Yeah.
about a month to actually consciously leave my body and be in that in my room
Yeah,
and aware of it.
exactly. So it's one of those things where I'll tell people like, hey, if you're really serious about exploring your own consciousness, um, you have to set aside that, 15 minutes or 20 minutes a day, let's say 10 to 30-minute window a day. And you have to meditate every single day, once a
Yeah,
day. You have to make it routine, and so that way, even if you are converting 1 out of 7 meditations into consciously aware out of body,
that's
that's
good.
still that's still 1 a week.
That's good ratio.
And so what is then in a year? Well, and then a year goes by, all of a sudden you've gone out of your body like 50 times,
Right. Yeah.
and so then you start to learn how to maneuver away from the physical body, go down the hallways of your house, go through the doors, go through the ceiling. You learn how to use your energy body, because at